My name is Hermie Garcia. I'm the publisher and editor of the Philippine Reporter, Filipino community paper based in Toronto. So when I was working in the media in Manila, in a daily newspaper and weekly magazine, it was at the time when martial law was already lifted, but only in name. So Marcos was still in control of um, the parliament, the military, the media, and practically the whole country. So the media where I worked, it was owned by the brother of Imelda Marcos. So the situation in the media then was there was one sweeping rule that is not written, not in the policy guidelines, but it's verbally transmitted from the presidential palace to the newspapers and publications and TV programs. Number one is criticize anybody and anything except the first family. So that was the number one rule. It was practically no press freedom. We started to organize a union of workers and journalists, but the management found out about it and they fired us wholesale. The organizers of the union, the leaders, members of the union. So we were unemployed. And that was the time when I started writing for these new emerging progressive magazines and newspapers. But Marcos was he was irritated by these articles and started suppressing them. That's why there were editors who were jailed, journalists who were arrested, and that was towards 1986. He declared martial law, so he could hang on to power. So when you say independent press, what I'm saying is, when Marcos was president, and even before he was president, the Philippine media were traditionally owned by those who are in power, the big landlords, big politicians. These are the rich people in the Philippines. They control the media. So when election comes, they use their media outlets to promote their candidates. And the president in power courts this media, and he sometimes controlled part of that media. But when you say independent media, we might as well be referring to individual journalists, individual editors, individual reporters who have progressive thinking, and they write independently of the businesses, the political people in power. So when you say what do, they write about articles critical of the government, critical of the policies of the government, critical of the social and economic conditions, the poor, the people being deep in poverty and hungry and unemployed and high crime. So they write about the real situation. The EDSA, the 4 days of EDSA uprising could not have happened without the many years of political development in the whole country. During martial law, the progressive media was practically underground because the legal media was completely controlled by Marcos. You're looking at mimeograph sheets like this, different newsletters, different publications being circulated in networks of people, there were underground radios being and news being broadcasted and opinion being broadcasted from places undisclosed. And there was no photocopier at that time. You can imagine it was manual producing it. And there was ink being used like toothpaste being physically applied on a machine, and then the machine is being run by hand, and then the paper, it is throwing out paper. And many of these journalists who wrote these newsletters came from the old media before martial law. So it was like so many sectors and classes in Philippine society coming together to demand for reforms, just like what's happening in Egypt now. I didn't want to get arrested, so I disappeared from public view. We called it going underground, but we continued doing what we were doing. We were organizing. We were coming out with underground newspapers, and we were broadcasting with underground radio. But some of my friends were arrested. They were tortured and jailed. Some of them were killed. We didn't see them anymore. Culture of impunity, as I understand it, is some people or some groups being able to do what they want, even to the extent of killing people without any regard without any fear of being punished. So it's like absolute power. The police cannot go after them, the courts cannot go after them, the media, no matter how much they become critical against these incidents, these killings would not stop.